Hey everybody, I'm Yannis. As the name suggests, very Greek. Also, the accent is a very giveaway tell. So, I have been in the machine learning world last 12 years. Even before it was cool, I was lucky enough to get a hint from a friend back when Geoffrey Hinton published his revolutionary paper about backpropagation, and which sparked all the deep learning revolution that we're living right now. The past 12 years, I have been a researcher, a data scientist, a lead architect. My last role before I started my company was I was the director of machine learning for Royal Bank of Canada. And since last year, I ventured out to build Neatly. Neatly is what Neatly is trying to solve is the chaos that ensues when businesses start to grow and get more people and get more tools. So a growing business needs marketing tools, sales tools, business operation tools, and all that. Actually, I might be start sharing my screen. Also, yeah.
You should be able to. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So here, great. All right, let me hide this. And awesome. So yeah, what Neatly does is trying to um, uh, solve this mess that you end up with tons of software that do not talk to each other. These tools are siloed because they are meant to work like this. They have different opinions about the world, different data models. And in order to do meaningful stuff, you need to spend lots of resources and time, and especially technical resources. And Neatly is trying to solve that through natural language integration workflows that they're easy to develop, deploy, maintain, um, solving that barrier between operations and development folks. So operations folks move as fast as they need to, and technology folks do not spend an eternity in meetings, essentially. With that said, that is Neatly, but we're not here today to talk about Neatly. We're here to talk about AI native practices in workflow automation. So basically, what I wanted to do in today's session, and by the way, very interactive. Bizan, how do you want to do it when somebody has a question? Should they raise their hands
Yeah,
or
they typically raise their hands and or they type it in the chat, and once in a while you can kind of come back and answer any questions they may have.
yeah? So either way works fine with me because I do expect and I hope I get a lot of questions. The idea is to kind of share our journey the past year and a half on what we learned, what works, what doesn't work, what people need, and what people start to expect with AI and AI tools when they meet AI tools in the wild, because design practices start to emerge with ChatGPT when ChatGPT started, famously when the lighting typewriters thing that was thicker and a bit more loud in your face to just let you know that it was going through, and also the streaming output, which was definitely one of the features. Nobody saw it as a feature back then, but it's definitely a feature that AI companies need to consider when they're building applications. So that's what I want to share, but in the context of workflows and workflow automation, because that's what we have been building, and that's where, because everything needs to be put in the context. You cannot make vague and um, uh, vague claims on that every product should be built or should be considered to be built in a certain way. This is from the perspective of workflow automation, and this is what we have found in the past year and a half. So some introduction, and then we're going to talk about the life cycle of workflow. So development, testing, deployment, and maintenance. And then also we can see a couple of examples through Neatly, just to understand what's the difference between like a static workflow that everybody has been doing in Zapier or Zapier Classic, as it's talking about right now, and the new AI native workflow tools that or AI workflow tools that exist right now. Also, I will be jumping in and out of the presentation to show you 3 tools today. So 3 tools are, this is the Zapier Central that right now is currently in public beta, the Copy AI for just to showcase different design principles, and Neatly. So but first, like, what are we talking about automation? And what is automation? What is autonomous? And is there anything in between? So automation basically is the reduction of human element in the process, essentially. If something can work out with gravity just by itself, just by making a ball and putting on a hill, just without you carrying it from point A to point B, that's an automation by itself. But of course, right now we're going to talk about in the context of software. So software automation meaning that you do something without you specifically doing it. Also, a common thread for all automations is that they are predefined. So they're pretty static in the sense that they have rules, they have maybe decision trees, but these are predefined during development time. On the other hand, autonomous systems and what AI is trying to be is that we as humans relieve control of the process, and we fully trust a system that will act on our behalf. So basically, the difference is that that relief of control that we give to systems to make decisions on our behalf. But is there a hybrid approach? Yes, but we believe that there exists a hybrid approach, but also where do you draw the line in a hybrid approach? That's very difficult to see. The idea is for a hybrid approach, at least for our perspective, whatever I have question marks, these are like open problems, concepts, like people like need to think hard about it. So basically is how much of the control are you giving out to the machines? In the pure automation and robotic process automation software that we see, everything is predefined. You match fields with fields, and then you have a robust process that runs reliably once it's being developed. On the other hand, you have the fully autonomous that the AI thinks, plans, and acts on behalf of the human. So there is a middle ground where the humans might actually plan some of the things that the machine might be doing, and give or put decision frameworks for the machine to act upon during runtime. And we're going to see a couple of examples for that. So first start with workflow development. So right now we're seeing mostly two design principles. One is you create the workflow within a chat environment or within a visual builder. So chat feels more AI native, more natural, though the degrees of freedom, meaning that the stuff that the user might write over there, they're kind of limitless, right? So you have you leave yourself a bit exposed to the intentions of the user. So meaning that the user might have a worse experience actually sometimes in a chat environment than in a visual builder environment. And the right side you can see Neatly's environment. So maybe I can also share. So this is Zapier Central. And this is the assistants that they have. So if you want to create a new assistant, you can say test assistant and say this is a test. And you give it a general instruction, you are a helpful assistant. And then you can put actions in here. So actions would be, oh, I need you to access Google Docs. Great. And what kind of actions you have? Okay, create a Google Doc. And then also you can add data sources, which basically give context. And any data source that you attach to AIs, they're if not solely, mainly for giving context to assistants. So you create assistants, and that's how you do it. And then you can chat in the chat that they have here. And it's an assistant that that is also a workflow builder, which is much harder to do than actually being in a visual builder that we see here. So, and visual builder, let's start from scratch, or maybe see one ready. So this is, you have little boxes that they correspond to tasks or to chunks, like you're breaking down your workflow into meaningful tasks, and then you give instructions and for each task that makes sense. For example, this is a workflow that we'll talk about it in the future, that you want to create a query to search the web, and then send an email based on the findings. Great, so let's go back to Figma. So these are the two main design decisions that somebody has to take when they're creating a workflow, when they're providing a workflow builder. But what are the features? So AI native features to give to the users. So it makes the oh, I think I skipped. Yeah, I skipped a slide. So for Neatly, before we go to the AI native features, for Neatly, when we add a feature, we kind of think of these 6 dimensions. So first, we want a feature to solve the problem that the user has. So, and that's, I think that's our most, well, at least everybody starts there. So you want to build a product, and you want to build a product that somebody has a problem and you want to solve that problem. But then also comes adoption, and especially if you're doing a product-led growth motion, meaning that you have your product open to for people to sign up. So if you're doing a product-led growth, you need to add features and also AI native features that enable adoption, that they help the user adopt the product. On the other hand, of course, compliance is self-explanatory. If you need to comply by certain regulations, especially in the financial world or in the insurance, maybe, you need to comply with that. How that relates with AI, it's interesting. So we in my past life at RBC, we used AI to be compliant. So for sales enablement, we needed to have certain requirements or certain monitoring practices in place that so far were super manual and tedious. So we were able to create features, models, right, to do that at scale and with AI. So that could be one feature that businesses need to have. At the same time, engagement. So you need to have features that enable engagement with certain aspects of the product, because engagement is a leading indicator for customer retention, of course. Also, there are features that exist only solely for differentiation. So if something helps your narrative to sell, that's something that we at least consider. And also collaboration. I don't think there are tools, or there will be tools in the future, even with AI, that they don't act as team first, because humans are the ones that use it, and humans are social creatures. And even if a company has 10 employees, those 10 employees need to have seamless way of working together, and even in an AI first world. Having said that, now that we can go back to the AI native features, and the first is having a AI skeleton. So far, when we were starting a project, or we're starting a presentation, or we're starting anything, we're starting from a blank canvas. There were some templates that existed. Oh, well, let's start with this template that took out some of the decisions, like the background color, or the fonts, or the font sizes. But right now, in the age of AI, we can do so much more. So, for example, an AI skeleton builder would be like what Copy AI, like this, what they do in their workflow builder. So you can start with just clicking here and have a blank canvas, or you can start building your workflow by giving an instruction. And also another good feature that they have is like prompting. Actually, it's not a good UX decision. Everybody is so lazy to, even myself, that I build AI agent that they have pages of prompts, prompt instructions. It's tedious to create these prompts. So, and a way of some companies that they figure out to do it's like, okay, let's give a ready prompt that also we expect that the kind of output. So if you click this one, it's gonna start creating the outline, but for this specific choice that they have, since it's predefined from them, it's basically like a button. Like you can think this prompt that I just now clicked, it feels like a prompt, but it's essentially a button. It doesn't have any other function. If it was like an API behind it and also data, and why is it different? I just clicked the button and something happened. So and now it created the skeleton for the workflow that I can go in here and start fiddling with it. So I don't start with a blank canvas. I'm already like, okay, 40, 50, 70% there. Let's say. The second design decision is having a copilot. Again, writing prompts or writing anything is tedious, is boring. And by the way, everybody started using ChatGPT initially for coding. Right now, almost nobody is using ChatGPT for coding. Everybody is using copilots within the editors that they live in. For example, if I go to VS Code here, and you see, so there is a copilot. So if I type it a variable here like cap, so it gives me what they think, what the copilot thinks too, and it's with the shadow text. And if I press tab, this is going to get auto-completed. So this is a feature that we think is going to be in every AI application. The third is a magic button. I think you've seen a lot of like these Stardust buttons that exist in next to a lot of texts, or Figma has one pretty good one for FigJam. I don't know if you use. So if we go here and we can create a new FigJam. So also, again, this is also a workflow. You can generate the same. You have two options, and you see this standard. So you can create a timeline, and you can put whatever you think here, and it's gonna create that, right? And then you can also play with it to fine tune the output. So also you have the ability to select and do some more fancy stuff. Let's go back to this one. Let's delete this one. Nope, that's not it. Great. And also collaboration mode. So again, everybody is gonna develop stuff with other people. So if you go to Neatly here, you're going to see at the top right. So this is our organization. You can go here. You can invite members. You can have a workspace essentially with other folks. So and I can invite members, and I can edit members, and generally role-based access is going to be something that everybody is going to look into in the near future in all AI applications. Great. So we talked about development. Maybe I can pause here. Bizan, are there any questions that we can answer so far?
Yeah, if anybody has any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and ask. I think one thing that I thought was very interesting, and then after that, maybe I'll pass it to you, Vijita, was like how you highlighted that there's this like pain point, which is people are not interested in typing like long prompts. And it's such an interesting insight that you share, because I think it really resonates with me. Like I'm personally not a big fan of like just like spending a lot of time typing prompts. And your comment made me realize you're right. Maybe there is like a combination of UI, a graphic interface, plus maybe some sort of a text audio that could guide the AI to actually come up with the prompt or present that. Curious to know what do you see are like some of the best practices in that area?
Yeah, and great question. So and how we're developing neatly along the same lines. I don't think anybody should write long prompts or any tedious thing. So or start from scratch. I think we're gonna be there are gonna be so many meta models that they're gonna work on top of everything else, and that they're gonna help that experience. So something that is a product, what we're working on right now, and I can share with everybody, like we're gonna have it as a lead generator in the future. It's gonna be a prompt augmentation feature. So when you type in, you just click that Stardust button, and it's going to generate from your initial prompt an actual prompt that the model can use. Then when something goes wrong, you see, and we're going to the testing phase right now. Something goes wrong, and you see an output that you don't want to see. You're not gonna go, oh, I need to tinker my prompt. No, you're going to pass the error and also pass your guidance to the model. And that meta model should review, reflect, and rectify the error that you have identified with your instructions.
Got it. That makes sense. Thanks so much. Very, very interesting point. Vijita, I'll pass it to you. Go ahead. You had a question?
Right, thanks. So, Ioannis, I had a very basic question. When you think workflows, could you contextualize them a little bit? Workflows to do what?
Great. So workflows that can, at least for our workflows, can stitch together different tools. For example, a workflow that we have is like you have your transcript, like a meeting transcript like here, or a sales transcript, and you want either after a discovery call, you want to create a summary based on create some action items, then based on those action items, update Trello, like create certain project management
Okay.
cards, yes, and then or move some of them, and then okay, send an email or send a Slack message to somebody to follow up. So that's a workflow, or you can talk to a database, or like retrieve or save data to a database that you have, and the most interesting use cases are the ones that you talk to the internet. And for example, you talk with somebody and you want to either enrich your data, do a search. We're going to see an example of that later. But search the web, get some information, put that in, and also structure that to save it either to some of the data sources that you have connected.
Okay. So we're talking about workflows in the context of any set of tasks that need to happen together, and they can be in any industry, any domain, but it's like the set of tasks essentially.
Yes, yes.
Great. All right. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Anand?
I think we got one more question. Anand, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, John. I'm curious, what are some of the things that this cannot be done with or the workflow cannot do? Can it not do, like, I don't know, like in terms of fine print, what should I consider when applying whether a workflow AI opportunity exists for a particular scenario or not?
Great, and great question. So how I view it, in a sense that generally, what is what is a business's core offering should be done, like the IP should belong to the company itself, right? So if what you're offering are I don't know, a database or some project management tool, building your core functionality with a third party platform, I don't think that's wise. Having that building with some sort of infrastructure in-house, that would be better in a sense. But in terms of features, so AI agents and generally AI workflows are slow still. So if you're looking for millisecond response times, if speed plays a big part of the user experience that you're providing. For example, if you're working on any dating app, right? Imagine if you're swiping or doing something and it takes 3 seconds or 2 seconds to swipe from one to another. Like you need to sit down for 10 hours just to go through 10 whatever likes, which is not a great experience to give to your users. So whenever speed is an issue, AI still is not as fast as it should.
Got it. Thank you.
And also, with a grain of salt, complex operations are in the general scheme are slower and require more steps, so they're more prone to breaking. But at least we are taking steps to mitigate that. Some other companies do not. So also that if you have like a 20-30 step process, it might be difficult right now with AI.
Got it. Thank you.
Awesome. So next, testing. Two approaches that we're seeing. One is okay, we take the whole workflow and we just press run with some data, and that's about it. Or we go task specific, and okay, we're gonna test that specific task. So if you see here in what was that? In copy AI, so it has test workflow, and you say copy company URL. It must be LinkedIn, for example, and you're gonna see here just running through the whole process that you have defined. So scrape company website and extract value propositions. It's gonna do all that. In the other hand side, so the Zapier Central has these that are called behaviors. They're essentially tasks. So they have a trigger. So when you message the assistant to do something, so when I message the assistant test, I give instruction to say hello world, and here you can test the behavior. You can press test, and it's going to actually on the right hand side test that. And then the acceptance also, you can do a thumbs up or thumbs down, or you can do, okay, this is good. And that's about it. Let's see if the other one stopped working. Yeah, so great. And this is the other one, so it's run through the whole thing, and it gave the output this is the value propositions of LinkedIn. Let's go back to our Figma. And yeah, and AI native features for testing. So AI feedback, what I gave right now to Zapier Central. So good, great. This also gives a signal that there's a label to the machine learning models that this worked well, and also synthetic data. So the other thing is that great, it worked for one example that I gave, or one example that it ran it by itself. Maybe I don't really know what that example was. It would be great for me to have a way to, give me 30 examples like this that I kind of know, and then run through all of them and give me some metrics after the fact. But testing is the most underrepresented area of AI native workflow automation, and generally, I dare to say, like testing is not, because it's so hard with AI applications. Like you have a generation or you have a workflow. At the end of the day, it's hard to, or it takes a lot of time to take an input and map an output for that particular workflow. And you have to do, let's say, that 100 times. You will spend a week just to create a test data set. So testing is difficult. Testing data are not readily available, and for specific use cases and workflows that you need to create, also they do not exist. Synthetic data is a great alternative to that, but again, it's an open problem in terms of features that we need to have. Great, deployment. So okay, we tested, everything looks good. How do we deploy it to the world? So there is the single button deployment for some tools, and we've seen it on the Zapier app. So you can say good, and it's going to save that information, and also you can turn on from the button itself. So single button deployment. You said go, it works, it has been deployed. On the other hand side, there are also automatic deployments. So they assume that the last change that you made and you said, yes, next, that this should run as is. That you did enough testing, you did enough due diligence in the stuff that you need to put out. So if you see in Copy AI here at the top, so this is done. And then I can click run if Copy AI works. I can click run, and it's going to show me that it's ready to, so yeah, publish and click run, that is going to run there. So AI native features here, and I know we're running out of time, so we have 15 more minutes. So one is decision making. So we'll talk about hybrid approaches. We need to be able to give frameworks, decision-making frameworks, to at least frameworks, or be comfortable to give control to the AI to make decisions. How does that look like? Maybe I can go here. So if this is a workflow that we have in our website. So whenever somebody either uses one of our lead magnets or signs up for our beta, they go through this workflow. And what that is that it creates a query based on the email that they provide. And we want to know if that person belongs to an organization with more than 100 people. So we provide here a reasoning. So if number of employees is more than 100, send an email notification to myself to send that to onboard that person, reach out to them and make them feel a bit more welcome in the Neatly family. So I give specific instructions, but I don't know if that person, like the model searches, and whatever they find, they act based on that. So what's Figma? Great. Self-healing, and that's the Bizan's comment about, okay, what is happening if something that I don't like? So or how do I correct something, and how do I develop something? So when something goes wrong, especially during deployment time, AI models need to have the ability to either self-heal, so make that work, because it might go, for example, one of the most common errors in API calls, at least in the early days, that you went, your call had more tokens than the maximum amount of tokens that OpenAI or Anthropic allowed. And then your complete workflow broke down. So here, ideally, the workflow, the error would come in, look, you have exceeded the maximum tokens for that API call. The reasoning would be, so, okay, let me break down that instruction into 2 calls and divide and conquer this instruction that I gave. Or if the context that was given was too much, split the context and do the same call twice. That is a self-healing option. Or fail gracefully within that and say, okay, if the model cannot do it, actually log that error and notify somebody to come to go fix it or take a look at it. Because right now, most, if not all, AI applications that we see out there, if they fail, they just fail, and you need to have a model, an AI observability tool like Langsmith. Let me show you how that looks. So Langsmith is like this. So you have a project, and then these are your runs that you have, and basically it tells you what happened in the backend. And you have to go in every time if you don't have self-healing and you don't have like failing gracefully, nothing notifies you, and you have to come in here and look at the, oh, these are red, why they're red? And you have to go in and triage them yourself. So this is definitely not a good practice to have in deployment. And finally, maintenance. So either you maintain vertically or maintain horizontally. What that means. So either you maintain a workflow by itself, we go here in the either in the workflow of the copy AI, same thing. You change stuff here. You delete, you do whatever you want, and then you save that again. But this is for this workflow only. Or you want to do it horizontally. So you're trying to have some composability. So these are the templates, we call them templates, they're data models essentially. So how information looks in your platform in general. So a lead would look like this. So a lead would have a name, we had an email, we have a role, we have a company size, and it's going to have some notes. And that's about it. So that definition is the same on all our workflows. If I want to change that definition, I would come here, I would add a property. This is a dummy property, and this is full, right? And I would save my changes. And this changed in all the workflows. So I'm maintaining my, at least from a data perspective, I'm maintaining everything horizontally, not within the same workflow. And usually data changes are the most common ones, because to change to go in and change the workflow by itself, you need to have operational changes, which these happen as well, but the data changes are far more often. AI native features in maintenance. First and foremost, retraining. For all your AI features, you're using large language models. You're using machine learning models. The more you use them, the more data you accumulate. It's paramount to retrain with that data, to provide better output, to provide better context. But, so there is also a pitfall here, because if you train with personally identifiable data, if you trade with data that have trade secrets of companies, if you train with a workflow that belongs to a company, and you train with the whole workflow, that workflow has trade secrets of the actual company, how they work, how they operate. The other thing is that all this, if you train agnostically, could leak into generations for third companies. So you could have either PII data, personal identifiable data, or other businesses' processes leaked into other folks. So very careful with retraining. Generally, you need to have guardrails, but it's very important. Secondly, we saw that you need to have data models. So data models and data interactions are paramount in terms of and managing those. So we're gonna see the rise of enterprise data models more and more, and discussions around those and policies around those. Stewardship is gonna come a lot into play in the near future. And also interoperability. Interoperability means that, look, the tools that I'm using to work, so for example, either that is an API, HubSpot's API, why not? I need to be able to look at them in the area that I'm maintaining that workflow. It's not that, oh, I need to maintain the workflow here, and then I need to go to docs.hubspot.com and say, okay, what are the rules for that API? How should I use it? And what? No, everything needs to at least be able to sneak peek to understand what is going on over there. We have 5 more minutes. I wanted to have questions. Okay, let's go with questions, but I think because I think they are more important than examples with Neatly.
Are there any questions? Otherwise, it might be a good idea to go through an example quickly, but go ahead, go ahead, ask your question, and then after that, we can kind of continue if there is time. Did somebody want to ask a question? I saw somebody unmuted themselves or saying. Okay, you can continue. I think people are interested in actually seeing the example.
Great. Zoom. Oh, come on. So this is a demo, and this is the it's actually a demo that we have at Collision this year. So it was we called it Wheel of AI. That's a fun little game that we played. So essentially, it's a marketing workflow. What we wanted to showcase is that how you can use lead magnets or any type of form within a website to do certain actions, workflows. So here, I can put whatever name here. So that's a friend of mine. So I can put my information and I can click play to win. And when it's sent, it's going to run through our workflow. So first, what it's going to do is going to save a lead. So it's going to take that information and go to our database, which is a Mongo database, and it's going to save that information in there, the same as it came through. The great thing about the agentic workflows, the AI workflows that we have here, is that if you are a marketing person and you wanted, oh, this is not good, I want to add another field here. Great, you add another field. What's going to happen? So if you had like a workflow that was in Zapier or any other like workflow automation tool, that workflow would break. You had to go and maintain it vertically in there to make sure it doesn't break. Here, it runs regardless. Like it takes the whole input regardless of the chains. So in order to actually track it, I had to go, if I wanted to make a change into that lead form, I would have to go here to the lead information and actually add another, like the dummy variable that I had here. Oh, so save change to my template. Great. So we save the lead first, and then we assign probabilities to that role. Okay, see a question.
It's a clarifying question. So when you another field to your form, what happens on the MongoDB side? So how does like the workflow interact with MongoDB?
So based on, you can give it instructions here, right? Saying it's going to read that template, that information. So the information is here in the leads that we showed in the data model here. So basically, it's going to extract this information, only this. If nodes do not exist, they do not exist in the, it's going to be empty. Unless you specify differently within the instruction here. And if you want to, so if you want to change this one and add one more field, it's not gonna break, but it's not gonna accept it. So if you add a dummy field here, dummy, it's not gonna break, but it's not gonna accept it. So in order to accept it, you have to go to the lead template, the lead data model, and add that field, add that description, and it's going to work like this. Make sense?
Yep. All right. Thank you.
So then we assign probabilities and we create a random number, and then we say, okay, what did the person win if they won, and then create an email, craft an email based on the outcome, and send that email to the email information that came from the form, and actually send that email to that person with the email body that we said here. I know we're 1 minute after time, but I think I had one more demo, but can we do one more quick? Jean? Okay, great.
Yeah, of course. If anybody needs to drop off, go ahead. Otherwise, the recording will be available anyway, so you can continue and
So yeah,
as I can see it.
So this is again this one I can run it from here. So also this is like how we test. So you run threads again. It's a workflow, completely workflow running. But this is interesting. So again, actually looks at the email and decides if I should get an email or not. So if I put my my neatly .app email, actually it will have to go to the Neatly website, right? It's gonna work through the not necessarily Neatly website. It's gonna scroll through lots of results, and it's going to, so create a query, number of employees at Neatly. So the results is like 2 to 10. Yes, we're 3. And so the number of employees is less than 100, so it's not gonna send an email. And but if we do a another test, this is my former boss, and it should send me an email because RBC is a humongous organization. So it needs to go either to, like, it's going to search, like, first it's going to query the internet, then it's going to scrape, and then also is going to and this is what it's resulted. So great. And with that, I think we can wrap it up. If there are any questions, shoot right now, or Bizan, you can send them to Bizan or send them myself. I can put them in an email. I would be more than happy to respond. Also, Bizan, I'm gonna send you a link at the same time. So everybody that wants to join our closed beta from the session, welcome to. We'll send you, Bizan, a link so the people can follow and sign up there. It's free, so you can use GPT-4 and Anthropic 3.5 to your heart's content.
Thank you so much. This was a great session. So what I'm going to do is I'm just like quickly sharing some information with people in the chat. So people on LinkedIn, they're able to find you. And I just went ahead and shared your LinkedIn URL. I also shared the link to nitly.app. I highly encourage, especially people in the Zoom meeting, trained AI product managers looking to explore, reach out to him, ask him, how can you help? Maybe that help is you giving him feedback. Maybe that help is you just going through the product, using it, giving him product ideas. this is an opportunity for you, and it's up for you to grab it. So thank you so much, Ioannis, for coming in today. I thought it was a really, really amazing session. It looks like people also enjoyed it and they found it very helpful and great product. I'm looking forward to seeing you succeed with it. We can tell that you're kind of starting with like some strong hypothesis on how things are gonna evolve, which is very important. You're kind of like, saying these are my first principles on how things are going to evolve. And with that context, I'm going to go build a product. So this is really amazing. Thank you so much again. And for those of you that are interested, please continue attending our AI Product Manager community sessions. We have more great sessions coming in. Next week, we're going to have a privacy compliant machine learning model. I think that's going to be very interesting. We're going to talk a little bit about privacy. After that, we're going to do a session on prompt engineering. We're going to do a fun workshop. Kai is going to attend. Niraj is going to attend. We're going to kind of do a live session together, try to improve a particular prompt together, right? And we're going to kind of explore how certain suggestions that are coming to us might make sense or might not make sense. So it's going to be very interactive, and a bunch of other ones coming in down the road. And thanks so much again, Ioannis, for coming in. Looking forward to seeing you succeed with your startup. And until then, have a great weekend, everybody.
What I love is the structured, the structured way of knowledge, and the beauty is, at least our instructor is the way he is structuring the information, the data, and controlling the time. It's really fantastic. I'm very, very satisfied, and it is a combination of the knowledge, which is more like information or theory, but then we are doing the workshop, and you will not you surprised, but what we are enjoying is that the surprise is practical for the PMs, right? So mostly what we think of that, okay, the workshop or the practical thing for the engineering team, this doesn't work that way, right? So right now what we are working on, say as an example, the PRD, and in parallel we are doing the little workshop as well, where we are brainstorming whether it's a particular use case is rule-based versus it should be required the LLM versus other ML model and stuff like that, right? So it's a combination, and if you are able to relate with what you're doing in your office, it gives you a whole lot of sense. And thank you so much, Bijan, because I'm sure that there's a whole lot of brainstorming with you and team has done to produce something like that. It is not just come out of the blue. It's definitely whole lot of behind the scene effort is going on. So thank you so much for you and on for, the entire team which is working behind the scene, right?